yes. Okay, this is yes, allegedly Marlowe Fahque, and yes, we have completed completely the last episodes, the Insecticons, and the Buzzsaw episode, Beast War 2. The next one, although a slightly earlier one than the last Beast Wars one in the collection, slightly earlier, 1990. See, the reunion one was done in '96. It was somebody else. It was Eddie Skipper, and then there was another short story. We'll do that later because, in the continuity-wise, this one should be next. Instead, because of each one of these is placed in order of loosely in order of chronology, but mainly in order of genre and story. So the next logical episode is the second half of Beast Planet, and then you go to the reunion and you have the two link up. Yes. So at Beast Planet, we have this is the sequel in terms of where the continuities go. This is an episode where we set it up in the last episode. They're going to find a ship and attempt to go somewhere. We're not sure whether they're leaving the planet in this episode or whether someone is arriving at the planet. I'm not sure. Not sure yet. But it is by Neil Davidson. The E, I'm assuming, is silent. And he was a TF Boards character in the 90s, 97, 98. And it's just the episode it was. This one is Hunter. Then we're going to do Ties to a Future, which is two different Neil Davidson Beast Wars, and The Escape. And yes. Also, we do know something about Neil Davidson. He was a font guy. Did the fonts and backgrounds and stuff. In the early stages. His last works were Deviant Art, TF Nation, that kind of thing. In 2015, 2016. He's dead. He died in 2016. And so he has relatives that are left over. This story will honor the scripts, the short stories that he wrote. So, yeah. So that's what this is going to be. It's a whole thing episode. It's in two ensemble episodes. Yes, something like that. And if you like, I hope you liked the cast last time because they're back in this one. So kind of set it up that way. Yeah. So we shall begin filming the second episode of Planet of the Beasts shortly. Planet of the Beasts. Yes. This one's set on the planet or in the ship approaching the planet, or leaving it, trying to leave it. It said in the story that it was a moon, Mars-like moon of a super-Earth planet in the Rosmacab system that references Animatron, and it references animatronics, the planet, Beast Planet, Jungle Planet as well. That works. It's one of the moons. Yeah, so it's kind of like LB241 and LB243, Alien. Two different moons of the gas giant. So we have, there's... They wouldn't be able to leave the gas giant on the rocket, you see. They wouldn't be able to get off the planet. If they went on the gas giant, they weren't. They're in the moon. And yes, it's way before Avatar: The Last Airbender. Way before the Avatar, the other one, too. Beast Wars. This was one of the stories that was written 98, 99 during the weird time travel Beast Wars episode where they tied in like the Ark and explained that the Maximals and Predacons had found the Ark in the distant past. It's supposed to be thousands of years in the past, or millions, depending on which continuity you want to follow. And the other thing is in the future, which is the continuity you want to follow. Also, Beast Machines, according to how it was structured, should have been roughly 2298, 2299, because of it being 300 years after the events of Beast Wars. So 300 years after 1996 would be 2296. I think 21, 22. Yeah, 2296. Right? So yeah. Now the ethereal plane that they were in at the beginning of this new episode kind of established that it's been a few years since Beast Machines, and it is now 2320, somewhere around there, 21, somewhere around there, which would be accurate. So it's been over 20 years, 30 years, 25 years since that other story. So yeah, so that's what's going on. So, but then they went through the Oracle machine thing and it transported them back to 2021. 2021. Yeah. So this is where they are. They're on Beast Planet, but it's not the Earth Beast Wars planet. It's the colony that was established by those that left the Beast Machines world. So between Beast Wars and Beast Machines, which this story doesn't even go into, the reunion one kind of does. But yeah, he and the other guy that wrote, Eddie Skipper, them that wrote the reunion one, their story was earlier, set earlier than this. So it was written in 96, 97, and they didn't know that other stuff was going to happen. So that one summer where Beast Wars switched over completely messed up their story, and they stopped writing it. So, so yes, yeah, and Transformers meets Robotech, actually tried to patch that up. So we've already kind of done reunion in a way with Transformers meets Robotech. So if you look at those miniseries, we just reposted the whole miniseries. We've kind of already done that, so we don't need to do that again. But we want to do their version of the reunion the way that they did it instead, which will be different. So yes, this is basically part 2 of a trilogy. Okay, part 2 of a trilogy. All right, so here's the trilogy, and yeah, part 2 of trilogy. The Beast Wars Planet. So yes, and this is the middle chapter, the darker middle chapter of the trilogy. And the 49-minute adventure from late last night, early this morning. There were some bloops that were done in post, including a human figure and then another human figure showing up. Those were not meant to be in there, so I cut them out. So you won't see them in the completed movie. They're gone. They were just mistakes that were left we took space footage from the space journey, and they happened to show a scientist guy doing something. And we didn't need to put that in there. That throws everything off. It's all robots. So, yeah, this has Magna Boss. We don't have that guy. Well, we sort of have that guy. But no, I'm not going to use him. We got a bunch of other dudes. Yeah, so why don't we do this and see what happens. And Neil Davidson. Yeah, Neil Davidson passed away in 2016. So yeah, stuff. I think one of these appeared in Transtech magazine in 2004. So these are from the 2004, 2003, 2002 to 2004 Transtech magazine as well. Yes, and this was the final season issue run of the magazine, which was canceled halfway through the year. So yes, we have 7 batches of short stories, only a few of which appeared in the magazine before it was canceled. Never produced, never reprinted. And we're making fan film movies out of them many years later. All right. But yes, some of which appeared in Transtech already in very condensed form. And now we've done the other ones. Incidentally, also chiming in on the Netflix Earthrise stuff, and not doing our thing. That some people have already compared the trailer for Earthrise to Corrosion of War, and to the War for Cybertron games, of course, that it's based on. Well, the reason for that is that Rob Power's original Corrosion of War Without End is known in the lexicon as being based on Corrosion of War from the comic books. And so they're all going to the same comic books as the source, you see. That's all. But if you want to think that somehow our reissue fan films and stuff are somehow connected to that. You can, it's not correct, but no, we did not have anything to do with the Netflix series, other than we know what they're kind of going to do next, but we can't say. Yes, and there's somebody pretending to be an actual writer on that show, posting posting all over the internet. Santos DeSantis. It's not him. Yes. So, Rodimus Primal website, and Theo. Yes, those two guys, take note that that's not really the writer from the show. He's just some fan. Yeah. That happens a lot. So here we have, a Wolf Fang episode that leads into an ensemble episode that leads into some other stuff that they try to struggle with what's going on the planet and doing stuff to get off the planet. A lot of these characters are, the ones a lot of them are the ones you've met already, the 15 or so, 16 or so from the last episode, instead of the ones in this story. They've been changed. So we just go to start. Yes. But yes, they had to be changed to match this series because, yes, we can't do directly referencing like Primal, Rat Trap, Megatron, Beast Wars Megatron, stuff like that. We can have a version of Rat Trap and a version of Cheetor and a version of Primal, but they can't be the ones from the actual Beast Wars because that continuity's done. So we're going to do another continuity. So yes, and yes, the Unicron is a direct reference to us. No, it's not us, but it's just a coincidence. But yes, although that Primal Prime does sound like the Optimus from the Netflix show. It's probably not. I don't think so. Yes, it's not like it's Cowpoke here, but it's not Cowpoke there. Yes. So that's it. Okay, this is day 1 of official shooting. December 10th. All right. This is the set. Neil Davidson's story. This episode is part 2 of 3 of dealing with the beasties, the Beast Planet. This one's called Escape from the Beast Planet. But Neil Davidson called this particular short story Hunter. So, yeah. Followed by other ones. Followed by Ties to a Future 1 and 2. Yep. And I think one other one in there. And Escape 1 and 2. Okay, this is just making up. Day 1. We got through one 18-page episode script. We changed the last 3 pages of the script to fit the narrative that comes up later in the next act. So in the original script, it said that Wolfang dies and the ship gets self-destructed and everyone blows up. So it has a 90s ending, basically. 90s, like, oh, it's so angsty and dark. They're going to kill everyone on board and blow them up. No. You can't do that in the first act. They still have to be around to be in the other 2 acts. Can't do that. So they don't die. That's basically all I got. But yes, it is changed so that it'll match the other 2 when they show up in the next act and they're alive again. It's like, yeah, so it's a little brief little story within a story, short story about the person getting rejuvenated. Also, another change in it was that the girl, actually getting the memories was actually Iguanas in the original, and we changed that to make it Rakshi. And when she gets her memories back, in the original story, she just had them all along when she was pretending. Iguana's just pretending. Not a good enough build-up, and being a pretender. Not a good enough build-up. I just said, no, what you want to have is somebody help them out in the 20-minute episode that's going on here. So future Rat Trap has the know-how from his brain from centuries of being a Maximal and he's able to like figure out how to make the computer send a beam that helps jog her memory, especially hitting her on the head with a frying pan. Well, not really, but as a robot. It's a hard reboot of the robot is what happened. Hard reboot. Yes, don't hit somebody over the head to bring their memories back. That's a cartoon character thing. That's not real. Don't do that. No. So a blow on the head doesn't make their memories come back. But in this as a joke in an animated film, it's fine. Do that. Yeah. So the zap brings it back. And then that brings back Megatron and Galvatron and Primal Prime. And Primal Prime has a version of a Matrix in him, sort of advanced future Matrix of creation kind of thing going on. So what he does is he uses his powers to rejuvenate Wolfang, so he can be in the next episode. So he doesn't die. And then they mention the ancestors and all that in there. But he doesn't die heroically blowing up the ship. That doesn't make any sense, nor is that interesting altogether. But the revised version, yeah, that works. And considering you tried it again and again, in the other ones, I wanted to make this match more kind of the elements of the story. You don't want to have half the characters dead in the first act. You just don't want to do that. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Yes, all right. Now, what we've done here is I have concluded the third episode of this 5-episode act together. This was part 2 of the Ties to a Future. This is the part that's on the Beast Force planet. But in this version, it's not. It's actually the same Beast Colony planet. We can lead on to the Escape, the last 2 parts, 36 pages. And we should be able to do that probably tomorrow. I don't know if there'll be any more filming tonight, but tomorrow. I'm going to watch the dailies here and see what they are. And it looks good so far. Yeah, it's a Transformers adventure thing. Escape from the Beast Planet. The next one after this will be a reunion, but this is the Beast Planet one. The virus, the binary virus that's going on is something unique to these Neil Davidson stories. That seems to pass on to the next one, even though they find the binary cure and all that. When they find the ship, the next one, they kind of tacked it on to the end of this, and then the Escape is technically a sequel to this, just so they continue with the curse, because otherwise there would be nothing. There would be no drama if they cured it right away. There'd be no drama. Carry it on for another 2 parts and then have it end. Yeah. Yes. So so it's slightly different, and but not completely. And the ending was completely rewritten. And so there's my making of. Nothing else. This is done. It's Sunday, the 13th December. So we're on schedule. 3 could be day 4. It's the 14th December. First unit camera, second unit. Well, it's flipped around, so it's second. So evening 4, and this is the Escape ship, and this is the Escape, Neil Davidson, and there's really no making of, unless you want that to be the making of. Oh, day 5. Gonna go right to filming, and Mac scene. And it's a play, so so these 2 other places aren't supposed to be literally on the ship, but as a sort of a play, yeah, they're on their way there. It's theater. So that's what's going on, kind of. It's theater. I got nothing more to say about that. Let's just start filming. Okay, this is only half a day of filming. We have on set Silly Kelly on set. This is we got up to page 15, so we did another 7 pages yesterday. We set 7 pages. We are going slower because of other things that came up the last 2 days. This is the end of this shoot for the evening, and there's nothing much more other than this. There's the other half of the episode. There's 3 more pages of this on the ship, it's all pretty much on the ship, but it's like a play, so they're kind of going back and forth like a play. They were all attacking the ship, and we're kind of implying they were in a corridor on either side of the ship, and they come in. It's theater, so it works. It does. Just like Underground worked. It was in the same set, and they were on the same set the whole time. It's kind of like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the evening. This is the the newer camera. It's the 800, which doesn't do certain lighting as well as the older one does for some reason. So we have to check the dailies and make sure there aren't any bugs. Anyway, so this is the end of the shoot of the thing. For the evening, we have lots of robot fight goodness. So what's going on is they're trying to take the ship. Either both sides are on either side of the bridge. They come in and they finally meet. They're not necessarily aware of where Primal is yet, but that's for tomorrow. They can probably see him. They're just kind of ignoring him. Probably because the two Megatrons and Galvatron Primal are from the future, and they figure, he can't do anything to them because the time travel thing. He can't because if he shoots them, if he shoots Rakshi, then Megatron no longer exists and the whole timeline never happens. So he can't shoot Rakshi even though she shot him right in the face. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on. So he's held back a little bit. Anyway, so that's the end of this scene. Tomorrow we'll hopefully finish the whole thing up tomorrow. If we get if we get a whole day, we can finish the whole thing up. Absolutely. Then we can put it together. Probably a release date of the 18th, 17th or 18th. Anyway, so yeah. So that was the end of that act here. That was the 2 pages that brings the story in itself to the script. That little piece there brings us to the next chapter, the final chapter, final 18 pages, and we'll go on to those. And in this version, the ship lifts off to go up into orbit. But in this other version, it's not quite what happens. They haven't gone into orbit yet. They're still flying towards the Autobots. So we end this last act. Kind of doing a little bit of it. It's not out of. I'm filming it this way because it sounds cooler. But yeah, that other scene getting prehistoric. It was Grimlock originally. Is actually earlier. So this is not really making of, but yeah, it's a little making of. A little making of in there. So yeah, put it in this order when you film it. Yeah. So what I did is I put that other scene after the. So it chronologically just do it that way. It'll actually make sense. So it does. Yeah. So cool. Judging what they're doing. Okay. And then we come to security access. So I scratched my foot on the chair earlier. That was lovely. And yes, so we're done for the evening. It's now just about 9, just a little before 9 on this thing, but it'll show up as 10 on the thing because it's 9. Anyway, so we're done for the evening. We got up to 32 script, roughly 31, 32, page 32. We have to find a way to make it a little punchier how the last 3 pages end the story. So we've resolved most of the fight and the conflict, and now the ending is more concerned with them just bringing the cure to the Autobots at the end. It's not terribly exciting the way it's written in the story. Just Grimlock shows up and gives it to him. Come up with something tonight and then film in the morning. But we're also going to review the Star Trek, as usual, which is different. And so, we always do that on Thursday. So that has nothing to do with this, but that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, so that's the end of this for the evening. And this was day 5 or 6, day 6. Yeah, so there's really not much making of. It went smoothly. So there we go. So, this is day 7, and we just completed principal photography on the second half of the escape, and thus the fifth and final act of Neil Davidson's script, and now we put it together, and it's sort of here because next one is the third in the well, there's 7 acts altogether. The third in the Beast Wars trilogy. The third one is the reunion. This one is the one that Neil Davidson did in the series, and we got to that point, and now it is over. Until now, there's more to come. And this cat, the cat, yes, is right here. Yes. So yeah. So yeah. That was the ending. Actually, I came up with the bizarre twist last night in a dream. I dreamt about this weird sort of pseudo Klingon sort of oddly Mexican thing. There was like a spacing going on. It had nothing to do with. They just happened to look kind of. They might have not even been Mexican. And surly looking characters of some kind in the story, and they weren't doing anything bad, but they had several writing on the wall things on the wall and funny looking things, and then there was a zombie child that shows up, and the zombie child they think they're all safe, and the zombie child sneezes on one of them in the end credits, and then they all escape in the escape vehicle, but clearly they are going to die. Or at least in this version they're not going to die, but they're going to get fucked up. Aha! So yes, they're going to get effed up. Yeah, so yeah, the Infecticons are literally infecting them with the virus. So maybe the twist is that the Beast Planet was put out there not just to make a beast colony, but because they were quarantined there. So there's a parable there, haha, wink, going on. And they weren't supposed to be escaping the planet on a ship. They just forgot that was their original programming for their being there. That they were like, see, unlike in Prometheus and Aliens, Prometheus and the other one. Yeah. Unlike in that, what's the other one called? Covenant. Unlike in Aliens and Covenant, where it was a cheap, like, cliffhangery thing. David, the android, goes and just wipes out all of the engineers when he gets on the planet off screen, and then when we get to the planet, they're already there. That's really lame writing. Don't do that. No. If they're supposed to be all powerful, show that. That's cooler than. I guess they discovered, we painted ourselves into a corner. We couldn't show that. Well, in this case, the Transformers, who don't realize what they're doing is actually detrimental to them and the rest of them, are trying to head back to the planet. Kind of the way that Star Trek episode Haven was written, with the plague ship. A little bit of that, except not as cheesy. And yeah, so they're heading back to Cybertron, but they shouldn't because it'll obliterate the timeline that they're in. And it won't necessarily affect theirs. And the bait and switch at the end, of course, was pretty obvious. It didn't occur to you. They have, cloaking devices and things. They have other stuff. He didn't actually erase them from the timeline. I could make that a little clearer, I guess, in dialogue, just so you know, I suppose. Sure. Make that a little clearer what the bait and switch was about. This cat keeps hopping up on my lap and then complaining that she's on my lap. Mm-hmm. Yes, she does. She's on camera. She does. She wants to be on camera. And yes, so that's what this. We are watching Escape from the Beast Planet. I would say it's Escape from the Planet of the Beast, but that's a little long, so Escape from Beast Planet is fine. The third one is Reunion of the Beast Planet or whatever, something like that. It's a reunion one. It's Neil Davidson. He died in 2016. He was a TF board person, made fonts. There's other stuff. We don't know how. I didn't really look it up. This script is done posthumously, I guess. We used a lot of his script in here about maybe, most of it, about 80% of it is his. And some scenes were juggled around just to make it look more visually interesting. So in the end, here we are. So maybe I should explain the bait and switch a little bit better after this making of. And yeah, so there we go. That's it. You're watching Escape from the Beast Planet. No.